exist until the end. Keep sending on machine toys. I wait with my friends.
So let's start with the whole arcade is dead.
Oh shit.
What was the reason behind those provocative sentences?
Right, well, I guess, like, no way beating around the bush. I have to be honest here. Like, Next Machina and Matterfall, both games, blood, sweat and tears for years. And especially Next Machina, best rated Housemarque title. One of the better rated titles on the PS4. One of the best rated arcade title. And no one really bought it. So, obviously, arcade isn't dead, but the way we made arcade is not sustainable. Like, we have to get out of our own comfort zone. We have to try something different, and luckily we had the prototype for Stormdivers to actually come into and force ourselves into to uncharted waters with like multiplayer and PvP first title.
So basically, did it change your whole approach on games? Was it like, okay, we made such a great game, but no one really bought it, so don't focus on the audience first and just make the game we want to play? Or
like, we've never thought about the audience first. Like, every single game we've ever done is first what we want to play, what we want to see from it, and cross our fingers that the people will like it too. The Stormdivers came about like in a pitch meeting. We have these like once every year, maybe even more often, but like where everyone from the company can come in front of the whole company and pitch. Like, this is a game idea I had. And February 2015, our artist came up and said that let's let's put together Smash Brothers and Hunger Games, but have it set in do you know the movie Battle Royale, the Japanese movie? Have that as a setting. Like, that immediately got us thinking. And in spring 2016, we had a working prototype. And the first things we have to do, first things we do whenever we make a game or a prototype, is that we have to make the gameplay feel good first. If we can do that, we know that there's something there. So our prototype, we started on it, and suddenly we realized that we actually have a gameplay here. But that was still during the time when we were neck deep in Next Machina and Matterfall. So regardless how hard we worked on those titles, we still especially after those titles, we knew that we have something. We have a functioning prototype there. And back when we were developing the prototype, the Battle Royale thing wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. But the moment we started committing, or we committed in earnest to Stormdivers, Battle Royale was a thing. So, I guess we had to take a different approach, because it's multiplayer and PvP, and both of those things are new to us in a sense. Like, Alien Nation had multiplayer, Resogun had multiplayer, all our games have had some kind of co-op multiplayer. But those things were the big new unknowns. Outside from that, everything was pretty much free game, and we just wanted to make a game we want to play ourselves too.
So as you said, Battle Royale is not only a thing, but the biggest gameplay or maybe genre or game mode now. So
absolutely.
What is the part of Stormdivers which make it unique, or what is its own game element? Because in the trailer we saw melee weapons, and the one character had a cloaking device or this dash move.
The Housemarque dash.
Good. Yeah, right there. So,
well, it's a class-based game, first and foremost. We're shipping with 3 classes. Each of them have their own mobility skill and a support skill. And since it's a class-based game, I personally don't see any reason to make a class-based game where you don't fully commit into classes having actually differences. So that's where the idea of bringing stats and attributes came in. With Alien Nation, we tried to do something hardcore arcade meets action RPG. with Stormdivers, we wanted to bring those action RPG and like elements and things we learned from Alien Nation into third-person multiplayer PvP. So each class will have their own stats, and that leads into how we differentiate, like also on the meta level in the match, by allowing players to actually change their attributes of their class or the character based on what items they pick up. Like there's, like, do you want to run faster or jump higher? That's a decision you can make during the match, because it's based on like the enhancements, what we call them. But essentially, they are kind of the power-ups from our arcade past. Like everything we do in Stormdivers is rooted somehow in our arcade past. We don't overnight forget everything we knew about making those good arcade games.
So, like in PUBG, if we want to take it into the interview for a moment, when you loot a house or you find a jacket, which actually just change your appearance, but in Stormdivers,
yeah, like,
you get these power-ups, and maybe you have a power-up which make you run faster,
yes.
And then you find like jumping boots and the thing.
Exactly.
The area where I have to go next is with differences in height, so it would be a good decision to have these specific power-ups for the end of the match.
Absolutely. Like
also just temporary power-ups.
Okay.
For the match,
yeah.
For the duration of the match, they're not permanent. Like everything resets after the match, but for the duration of the match, and there's like inventory system, so you can switch on the fly to a degree, but it's still like, you know, you're still doing the same, like making the same decisions. And like you said, you see places that go higher up. Our game is vastly vertical. Each class, like we have teleport, jetpack, and the tactical cloak as a mobility ability. Well, tactical cloak doesn't sound like flying, but it sounds like climbing to me. So when you're in stealth as the scavenger class, you can climb vertical walls and then jump and use your glider to fly. Each class has a glider available at all times. You press spacebar twice and you're gliding, and you can of course use your weaponry when you're gliding, and immediately we have aerial combat. Like those things, like I know what Battle Royale is now, but those things don't sound Battle Royale. They sound arcade to me, and they feel really, really arcadey to me. Events is another thing that we're really proud of actually. Like our Storm is like, okay, let's start with like how Battle Royale has only the 2 core rules. Well, like that's how we look at them. Last man surviving is the winner, rule number 1, and the area you play in gets smaller. We really like the first one. I think it's awesome, but there has to be some things we can do about the second one, like to make it at least more interesting. So that's where the Storm came about. We want everything to have context in the game. We don't want this like, I don't know what it is, but something is forcing me inwards type of feel. So we have a Storm that is constantly moving and evolving. It's not a circle, it's shaped more like an amoeba, meaning that there's these pockets of safe zones all around the outskirts. There's this weird pushes from the Storm, creating like 2 more like separate play areas. Everything
you're not safe. Maybe there are moments where you just run from A to B and there are no players. So actually, the Storm is an element you have to constantly be aware of.
Because suddenly you can see the Storm pushing like through your sightlines. It's still behind you, but it like looks to you that you're being closed in. Like those kind of gameplay sensations are super important to us. And the Storm led us to creating events like the tornado that is born from the Storm and dies in the Storm, and it goes in and out around the playfield. You saw in the trailer, trees and everything react to it. It pulls the players in and throws them out. There's like eclipse. Everything has to have like this almost weathery effect to them. Like it has to be an anomaly that you can see here on this planet too. But yeah, a thunderstorm. Our events don't have to be. They're not all there to hurt the player. They're more there to make the player aware of their surroundings.
So they're not like 30 minutes jogging exercises where nothing happens and no player.
Absolutely no. Like the match length, our longest match is 15 minutes.
Okay.
Like that allows us to put like something cool every minute into the frame, and that's how we approach it. Yeah.
Is it a 100-player battle royale or are there less players? Because
we're currently at 60 players. We feel that it's like pretty much the maximum number of players for our island, because it's smaller than like for example the Battlegrounds island, and we really want to keep the match length somewhere in the 15-minute region.
So let's maybe get back to those class, because you named 3 of those support abilities. What are the aggressive part of moves you can?
No, the movement abilities, teleport, jetpack, and the tactical cloak, and then the support abilities.
Okay.
Like the Juggernaut, who has the teleport, can put like a ballistic shield in front of him to
what
guard.
we saw in the trailer.
Yes,
yeah.
to guard him and his teammates. There will be no building. Like some people, I think, commented that there's going to be building. Nope. Our team is 16 people. We don't have the resources. So. Yeah, Marauder, who has the jetpack, has a healing area. So he's like an assault class, but can heal or help the teammates to heal. And the Scavenger is my favorite, with support ability. She's the one who has the stealth. She has a sound vacuum. Like every sound she emits gets trapped inside the bubble. And so basically, she's really silent and deadly from any distance, really. And like in terms of support abilities, like how that supports the team can be within the same bubble, like as well as the same healing area, as well as behind the same cover.
So it won't be just 60 players. Each one is on their own and just wants to win. There will be a team mode where you play.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's two friends.
There's solo, duo, trio, and 4-player squad mode.
So basically the classic.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, that's don't fix what doesn't what's not broken.
Right. I guess more people would be kind of useful, because you always have like 3 friends to play with, but 5 or 6. Who has so many people at the same time?
Anyways,
so to maybe name the biggest elephant in the room. What about microtransactions, DLC?
Yeah, fuck loot boxes.
I guess many people will be really happy with these statements.
Fuck that noise. There will be no loot boxes. The game will launch with a fixed price point, but this sentiment or revulsion for like loot boxes led us into like what I feel is one of our greatest innovations. Like player customization is super important. Like at least to me, and I take a guess that everyone likes to make their character look what they feel represents them the most. So there's many ways you can go about the player customization. We often think that it's just the reward, but like from the early onset, we wanted to see if there's a way where player customization could actually be part of the gameplay loop in some other way than just picking stuff up and putting it in your backpack. So what happens in Stormdivers is whenever you encounter a cosmetic item in the map, you cannot put it on, but the moment you pick it up, that piece of equipment, depending on its rarity, will generate you an objective, like a mission. If it's something super common, it could be something like surviving to be in the top 20. For people who play a bit of games, that's not that big a deal. But the moment they hit in the top 20, that item is theirs to keep for good. They've earned it, and that way we have gameplay through cosmetic. Like that. Another example. Player finds within the first minute of the match something like super rare cool cape. The more rare item, the more difficult, the more objectives there are per item. But in this case, let's say there's going to be 3 missions: be in the top 2, get a kill with the sword that you spawn with, and kill a scavenger with the sniper rifle. 9 times out of 10, someone wants to take that item with them, like when the match ends. Like it's like they want to earn that. They want to have it. So
Status as well.
Yeah.
I don't do business.
yeah, it's a drive. It drives you. So instead of just being the last man standing, you want to be the guy who gets to kill with the sword. You don't like sniper, but you still want to trade your favorite shotgun for the sniper so that you can try to kill the scavenger with the sniper. And once you do that, you've almost there. That's like when you only have to survive anymore. That's,
So
yeah.
these missions are for the specific round you find.
Yes, for the specific round, and after the round is over, have you not completed them, that item might be lost for you. And there's like we'll have a crafting element to it, of course. Like items you haven't managed to secure, you will get a blueprint out of them. Like you can craft them but it takes more time because you have to get the resources playing the game. That's the one of the meta loops. But there's still a third mechanic to this, because if we just fully commit into like you have to earn everything by strictly these rules, they're always generated. They're always different for each item, but we want players to actually have a chance to earn something without often necessarily meeting all the objectives, and that's where the mechanical storm anomalies comes in. There are these blue baubles of light, electricity that you can collect, and when you collect them enough, you get a buff. And that buff has like 3 levels, and depending on how many levels you have, that increases your chances of securing those cosmetics you haven't met the criteria for, or the objective for. So let's say you have that rare item, you kill the scavenger with the sniper, you get the kills with the melee, but you die being the third. You still have a chance because you were surviving towards the end of the match, you have a level 3 buff, and you still have a chance to roll that item for you.
So these blue bubbles appear on the map?
Yes. And you drop them when you die. But of course, what you've collected so far is what you have. Like you're not losing anything, it's just a way for you to give other players a reward for killing you. And through that, like this cosmetic system alone, we're driving people towards combat, not towards camping and surviving. Like I personally love PUBG. I've spent hundreds of hours with it, but like I don't like the waiting bit. I always see conflict, and when we realized that we have something special in our hands with our game, like we wanted to also create mechanics that drive people to engage others. Everything in our game drives you towards engagement.
So in the trailer we saw such a space motorcycle, I call it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Will there be vehicles, because you said the map is way smaller than the classic?
Yeah, but there's still
Royale map.
there's still ground to cover. Like there will be a vehicle. Like that's the only vehicle we're gonna launch with. Like I said, 16 people. We have to pick our battles. But there's like, I'm not here to sell the future. I'm here to explain about what our mode is now and what it will be when the game launches. But come 2019, we have more than big enough plans to expand the game towards like a PvE direction and adding more content to it regularly, including new classes, new maps, and new vehicles.
So right now there's one vehicle and
3 classes and
2 classes and just
one map. That's what we're going to launch with.
Since in the trailer it appears that it's more like a sci-fi setting.
Absolutely.
Will there be just the classic weapons, or
there's going to be futuristic stuff as well. Like we have stuff in the pipeline and outsourcing coming in, like laser cannons and grenade launchers that like fire plasma and stuff. Like sci-fi is our home ground. Like sci-fi, like when you're making a sci-fi game, no one can tell you that, well, you cannot make the fire rate of that gun faster. Fuck you, I can, it's sci-fi. And suddenly my gun fires faster. We have augmentations for weapon as well. They're like, as well as with other games, we still try to push the boundary a bit. Like to have the sci-fi present in everything we do.
Interesting question right now. Will there be, other than this really cool idea of customization and progressing through customization, will there be other ways, maybe to increase your character, like a talent tree with maybe a bit strange voices?
I like those. Like we like RPG elements. not in the launch, but within the match you have 3 levels you can upgrade your movement skill with, and that's by just scavenging for more loot. And there will be like a profile you level up, but currently nothing that permanently changes how your character behaves from match to match. We have like plans and designs for introducing something like a talent tree as well. I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff. I love showing my progress for my sake, and I like building. Like in Dota 2, one of my favorite games, you get to build your character from the start of the match to the end, and that's like one of the things our game offers as well in terms of those enhancements. You pick and choose what you want to do with your character at that point in time in the game.
So when we're talking about RPG elements, you said each class has different stats.
Yeah.
And weapons will also have stats.
Yes.
How important are those stats for the actual gameplay? Is it more, oh, my enemy has a better weapon, so I'm outgunned, or is it like a small part in the actual aiming, outplaying, dodging?
Skill is always important. Our games have notoriously high skill level. This game isn't that different, and that's sad, I guess. But that's the way we do games. We get a lot of shit for doing easier difficulties in games, but they're still too hard for some people. But yeah, honestly, that's something we can improve on. But in a PvP competitive setting, it's quite hard to make the game anything but skill intensive. But stats do have value. It defines how fast you get from point A to B, or do you get on top of the building you want, or do you see the footprints of the guy, or do you get health back from killing the guy. And in terms of weapons, since you can upgrade them, I personally feel as a designer that balancing is the most fun you can do in the game development, is you get to put all the data together and all the opinions together and say you disagree but still be in the wrong, and then actually do what you have to do. Stupid joke, but like guns, we have weapons that are not viable, like they're not really good at first, but once you find the right upgrades, they become the tier 1 guns. That's the approach we're trying to do. We need player feedback whether that works or not, but we feel quite positive about it now.
So basically, like I find a sniper rifle,
yeah,
but there's just close quarters,
yeah,
and with this gun, normally I would be.
But like even as a sniper rifle is actually a really good example. Like it doesn't have a scope at first. It has a really good iron sight, and you can still aim in the third person accurately. But it only has one shot in the chamber. When you find a mod when you can increase the amount of rounds in the chamber, it actually becomes a really viable semi-auto weapon, even in the close range, and deals the most damage. So those are the kind of venues that allow players to build themselves throughout the match.
So each weapon doesn't have a fixed use,
no,
you can just snipe with this rifle, or the shotgun won't work under any circumstances at a larger distance.
It absolutely does in our game. Yeah, it's a sci-fi. That's the beauty of it. We don't have anyone telling that doesn't work. I mean, there's some gaming conventions that you kind of want to trust, like shotgun shouldn't be a sniper, but it can be a little sniper.
So I'm always interested in the lore of games.
Right.
Is there a bigger concept behind is there like a world of Stormdivers, or?
Yes, the lore. So basically, it's a dystopia future, near future, where basically their society has been crumbling down. All their lower classes they don't have jobs. They are actually quite desperate to get to the rich class, which is ruling the world. How they get there, basically, there's this island now where they used to have this research center for nanotech. They were studying how nanotech can help with the recycling and other things. So now there's an artificial storm system because the nanotech got free, and it ruined the whole island, basically. It got this permanent storm system. And only sometimes the storm creates this kind of eye of a storm in the middle. And then there's all this really valuable nanotech in the island. And if these people get their hands on those, they can actually become rich and be happy in the society. So these people take really big risks going on the island and getting all the nanotech they can. Obviously there are competitors as well, so, and there's no laws on the island, nobody can see what's happening there. So they fight till one of the teams or the last one standing gets the loot and takes it away with them.
Oh, cool. Since I'm a huge role player, I also like to collect like story hints or like notes in games. Will there be maybe into the game, so little bits and pieces which directs you to the bigger part?
Absolutely.
Even if it maybe in a competitive multiplayer isn't that important, but for example Overwatch showed that you can create a world, characters, and
absolutely.
Even if you are just a competitive multiplayer game.
Quake Champions did that too. Like they're hiding lore hints in jars, and I like collecting them. Currently, our design document for those backstory pieces is somewhat 120 something separate entrances big. So yes.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah. So I have to survive to actually see everything.
And we still have to figure out like a good system to introduce them to the game.
Yeah.
But spawning them randomly and using the same mechanic, when you pick it up you keep it. Like it's a collection thing more than anything.
And the island is secretive, so you find all these things as well that explain a lot of new things that you don't know yet.
Absolutely. Like this also ties into the storm, that our storm has a context and our events have a context in the storm and our enhancement have a context in the universe. AI and nanotech and sci-fi is a pretty good grounds for any story, we feel.
So since it pops up in my mind right now, let's maybe get back to the customization.
Right.
Because can you tell how many different parts of your character you can actually customize? Like, is there only maybe a breastplate or something, or will there be gloves, head, glasses?
Plenty, and plus you saw in the trailer, you see the pod. That is also a customizable. It has to be. Weapons will be customizable to a degree, like in terms of skins. But each class will also have their own unique, special cosmetic piece that is only specific to the class. Like most of the cosmetics will be like interchangeable between the classes, but the class-specific stuff you have to collect for the class-specific. So we love customization. So there's no way in hell we're gonna drop the ball with this.
Yeah, also I'm also. I played World of Warcraft Legion, for example, like 2 months after the release.
Right.
I didn't raid any instance or stuff. I just farmed old instances to get the armor pieces.
Transmog. Yeah.
To, like,
you're talking to a person who's played the game from beta.
So this is the only reason I played this game.
My tank still looks like the tier 1 molten core tank with the Wraith armor. No, not Wraith. Fucking. I don't remember.
The Violet was the tier 1 armor.
Yeah, tier 2 was the Wraith set for warriors. Yeah. This is quality interview stuff right here. Yeah. Stormdivers, brother.
Not just the basic. Question A, B, C. It's a conversation, not
absolutely
some bullshit.
Oh shit! You have a camera.
Oh no, we can't say that right now.
Yeah.
So, from your point right now in development, what would be a thing? Terrible accent. Which isn't in the game right now, which you would, if you could implement and see how it works.
Boss fights. It's like it's on the roadmap. We want to put PvE stuff into our game as soon as possible.
So in different game modes? Or everything
in the Battle Royale mode. There will be different game modes down the line, but we want to put more PvE content. We already had a prototype for PvE content for Battle Royale, but we want to. We didn't have the bandwidth, and since you asked what would I put in, that willy-nilly it would be the boss fights. I love creating like these asymmetrical objectives for the players as well, and engage them in as many ways as possible. That's why the cosmetic system is tied to the gameplay as well.
Because boss fights I asked because I played Destiny Gambit mode a couple minutes, hours ago, and there was also this.
Did you like it?
Yeah, actually, it was quite fun.
Glad to hear that.
Although we lose, but
Such is the life of games.
but it was an interesting experience to
I'm glad to hear that.
tactical elements of either invade the enemy or
Right.
increase your like bank for those nodes to actually get the boss faster.
Yeah.
So finish it. So you said not in a different mode, but in a classic battle royale. Which I asked because maybe there's one mode, last man standing, where the primary target is you have to be the last man surviving, or like a 4-player teams on each.
Yeah.
Then there will be bosses and maybe they drop something, and if you get like 3 coins from those bosses, you win. And
Right.
but as I said, this is not in the game right now, so
Nope.
no.
It was just if I have one wish.
I just I don't want to nail you on the cross. And
What comes about what I would like to like kind of end this with is like, yeah, the trailer backslash was rough, but what we really want to do here, like especially here in Gamescom, talking with you guys, is like the beta sign up is now open. Take part in it. Tell us why it sucks. Tell us why it's good. Tell us what we can do to make it better. We want the players to understand that, like you said, basic battle royale. Only in the sense it is basic battle royale as opposed to like last man standing is usually the winner, and the play area gets smaller. First and foremost, it's a Housemarque game. Second, it's a battle royale game mode.
I guess these were your last words, but if you want to address something to the players, what would you tell them?
I think Henrik just put it into words really well. Sign up for the beta, give us a chance, because we know we can do this well. Hopefully you like it as well. I know not all the players like the same kind of games, but just give it a try.
So then, I guess, thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
Have a great rest of the week, and hopefully it will work out for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.